So yesterday was exciting, huh? Columbus Blue Jackets land Johnny Gaudreau in free agency. They also add Erik Gudbrandson. This might be the biggest signing in Columbus Blue Jackets history. We're going to talk all about it today on Locked On Blue Jackets.
Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to bring you all of the news, the stories, the trials, the tribulations, the excitement of your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day, every day. Locked On Blue Jackets, free and available on all podcast platforms and also on YouTube. We have seen a huge push on the YouTube and on the podcast side of things since the draft. Obviously, the Johnny Hockey signing has brought a lot of people in. So, hello, welcome. If you're here for the first time, welcome on in. If you are a regular, then I appreciate you coming back and spending your morning with me. But today we're going to talk about free agency. I was gearing up for this to be a really boring episode where I complained about Erika Branson, and then about 12 hours ago, I was getting into bed because it was midnight where I was, and I got a text in all caps from Sean, our channel manager, who said, "I really hope you're awake right now." And turns out the Blue Jackets sign Johnny Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey himself, for a 7-year contract. He is making $9.75 million. I am friggin' floored. Honestly, I had seen the rumors throughout the day, and I was like, you know what, it would be neat, but it's not going to happen. Yamo is driving the price up, or he's, doing his due diligence or whatever. And then the Flyers were officially out. I guess the Flyers were never really in, and then it turns out that he signed in Columbus. Everyone was like, he's going to go to Jersey. He's going to go to Jersey. I was like, yeah, probably. I don't like it, but yeah, probably. And it turns out, nope, he's ours now for the next 7 years, and I'm over the moon. Like I said, this is potentially the most exciting signing that the Blue Jackets have ever made in the 21, 22 years that they've existed. Um, Johnny Hockey could potentially be the best player to ever play for the Blue Jackets. And this is no disrespect to guys like Rick Nash or Tony Panarin. I think there's definitely arguments to be made for both of those guys. Gaudreau definitely in the top three, I think. He's an elite winger. He's the elite winger that we've been waiting for, and I know that I've been saying this about Patrick Laine, but if we can keep Patrick Laine and Johnny Gaudreau, like that top line, Gaudreau, Roslovic, Laine, that's a good, fun line that I am excited about. So let's get into Johnny Hockey's stats, because he had 115 points last season, which is almost double the highest scorer on the Blue Jackets, which was Jake Voracek, who I believe had 62 points. He had 40 goals, 75 assists, and he was a plus 64. So I understand, I know plus minus is kind of a dead stat, but when it's really good like that, something must be going right. Plus 64 on the season. He, obviously Johnny Gaudreau is one of those players that was always knocked for being too small, not big enough, can't play with men. He's proving everyone wrong. He was the best player in Calgary for a long stretch of time, and he wanted to move back east is the thing. So and again, I assumed that many wanted to be right where his family is, so the South Jersey area, and I guess Ohio is close enough. It's about an hour and a half flight. I know a lot of people are like, why would he move somewhere that's an 8-hour drive away from his parents when he wants to be closer to his parents? And I'm like, my man is a millionaire now. He was probably a millionaire before, but you get my point. He's not going to get in a car and drive when he wants to go see his parents. He's going to get on that hour and a half flight from Columbus to LaGuardia or Newark or wherever. Like, that's just, it's a stupid thing to get mad about. I understand being bitter and upset because you thought your team was going to be landing a big free agent, but there's been a lot of Columbus slander happening, and I will not stand for it because Columbus is a great town. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably already know this because you are a Columbus person. But there's been a lot of, man, why would he want to move to Ohio? And I'm like, well, Columbus is better than Newark. So first off, hush. And second off, y'all are just bitter. We're going to talk a little bit more about Johnny Gaudreau signing, what this could mean for the salary cap in just a minute. But first, I've got to tell you about one of our sponsors that I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 because I wanted to do something about my diet. I didn't have a bunch of time to be messing around making protein shakes and taking vitamins. I wanted better gut health. I was tired all the time. I was getting sick a lot. And so I started taking AG1 and I love it. It's been such a revelation in the morning. It made of 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. These things support gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, aging, just all of the things. All you have to do is put one scoop in a cup of water and you can reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. There's no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So let's talk salary cap because it might be a problem. So we're going to talk about the Gudbrandson signing in a little bit, but that's $4 million on the cap. Johnny Gaudreau adds another 9.75 on top of that, with Werenski's extension kicking in his 9.563 or whatever it is. That's a lot of money. It's currently not enough money to re-sign Patrick Laine. So something has to give. Whether that is trading someone extraneous, whether that is moving on from Laine, who knows? Gus Nyquist is making $5.5 million for this season, and then he's a UFA, so he's the obvious choice to move on from, which is a shame because I said in my season review I like Gus Nyquist a lot. I think he was a really sneaky good player for this team for long stretches of his time here, and it would be a shame if we had to move on from him. But I understand what's happening. The other things are, there's a couple of players that are on the cap page that probably won't be here when the season starts. Guys like Brendan Gaunce, I imagine, will get sent down. Potentially Mathieu Olivier, Carson Meyer probably gets sent down. The injured reserve players, Danil Tarasov, there's a million. So, there's ways to make moves and there's ways to kind of reduce the cap strain. I do think moving Gus Nyquist is kind of non-negotiable at this point if you want to keep Laine. Because looking at the roster, there's really no one else that you could move. So there's, in terms of forwards, there's only 5 guys making over $4 million. And honestly, we have 3.1 million at the minute. We need at least 4.5. So, maybe you move Roslovic and Robinson, and that combines to about 5.6 million. But of the players that are making that much money, Gaudreau, obviously, who we've just signed, we're not like duh. Jake Voracek is making 8.25 for the next 2 years. Gus Nyquist is making 5.5 next year, or well, this year, I guess. And Oliver Bjorkstrand is making 5.4 next year. I could see them potentially trying to move Voracek, but I don't think they will, and I don't think they should. Gus Nyquist is really the only like those are your options. Is move Gus Nyquist and potentially, I've seen a lot of people saying maybe Erik Robinson goes somewhere, which would make sense, or potentially move on from a defenseman. I'm not sure who, but that's that's an option. So, or your other option is, well, we've got Gaudreau now. That makes line A kind of extraneous, and I don't think it does, but that's a line of thinking that could be happening. And potentially they move line A, try and get a decent center in return, and see kind of where we go from there. So those are really the kind of the two options, and I genuinely don't know which way they're going to go. I'd like to think that they keep line A and move Nyquist, but genuinely, who knows? Because on the one hand, Jarmo Kekalainen went out and got Johnny Gaudreau for less money than they were offering in New Jersey and in Calgary. But then on the other hand, he also signed Erika Branson for 4 years for $4 million. So it's been a real up and down, real up and down day as someone who is a big Blue Jackets fan. But let's talk about Erika Branson. We'll talk about that next in a minute. But first, I want to tell you about Built Bar because they've got a brand new flavor. You've probably tried the amazing coconut brownie chunk Built Bar, but guess what? They've given it the puffs treatment, and I am so excited. I love the coconut brownie chunk bar. I love Built Puffs, and putting those two things together just seems like it's going to be a real good time to be a person who eats a Built Bar. They are delicious, chewy, marshmallowy bars covered in 100% real chocolate. They've got chunks of brownie in. They've got that really good coconut flavor that I love, and it tastes like real coconut, not like fake coconut as well. They're good for you as well, though. That's the best bit. They're low calorie, low sugar, high protein, high deliciousness. They're only here for a limited time, so you got to go to built.com right now to make sure you don't miss out. They are going fast because they taste incredible. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Once again, that is built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order of coconut brownie chunk Built Puffs or any other bar, but you should get the coconut brownie chunk Built Puffs. So let's talk about Erika Branson because this was a choice. And I think it's something that I've kind of been talking about a little bit as the off season has kind of continued on. There was a lot of talk from one specific beat reporter for Columbus that was like, they need to be bigger, they need to get meaner, they need some grit, they're too soft, they got pushed around. And I like fully, wholly disagree with this. Because I think anytime you can add more skill is always a good thing. Like, I don't think you should sacrifice skill for hitting, because if you're hitting, it means you haven't got the puck, and if you haven't got the puck, then that means you're not doing well, you know? So I would much rather they would have gone after if they needed a veteran right-hand defenseman, I would have much rather they'd gone after someone who was either cheaper or better at hockey, potentially both. But I mean, it is what it is. It's weird. I was real mad about this to begin with, the Gudbrandson signing, and then they turned around and were like, "Well, we saw you were mad about Gudbrandson, so we got you Johnny Hockey." And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll forgive you now." Um, but the other thing about Gudbrandson as well is I don't want him to take ice time away from our other good young defensemen. At the minute, this looks like we've got four right-hand defensemen. We've got four right defensemen. We've got Erika Branson, we've got Adam Boquist, we've got Andrew Peake, we've got Nick Blankenberg, and David Jiricek to move in there as well. I don't think he's on the roster yet, but he is right D. He signed his entry level on day one of free yesterday. Yeah, wow, that was yesterday. Yesterday feels like it was been a million years. So now there feels like a little bit of a logjam on right D. I don't know if this is because they're not planning on playing Jiricek straight away, which to me seems like a mistake. I would take David Jiricek, 18-year-old David Jiricek, over however old Erika Branson is any day. 30-year-old Erika Branson, I would take 18-year-old David Jiricek any day. So that's kind of where the defense is at right now. Just a really, on paper, like on the surface, like a really baffling signing. And then you listen to Yarmo talk, and he's like, well, we were a little small. We've got a lot of skilled defensemen, but we didn't have a lot of big defensemen. So we went out and got a big defenseman, and now we're bigger on the blue line. And I'm like, yes, how terrible. We had too many skilled defensemen that could move the puck. Now we have to put up with Erika Branson, who is an active liability in the offensive zone and the defensive zone. But I'm not the GM of the Blue Jackets. I don't get to make these decisions. I'm hoping he plays sheltered minutes. Like, I can't. He's currently the second highest paid defenseman on this team, which again feels bonkers. But I can't imagine he's going to be getting a lot of ice time, because I don't. Can we just have him kill penalties and that's it? Like, can we just sign him to do that? Because I don't know necessarily that I want him on 5-on-5, but that's beside the point. He's a bottom four guy, maybe a bottom pairing guy. Like, and if he's the kind of guy that they've picked up to, I don't know, be a veteran presence, like I get that, but $4 million is a lot for a veteran presence. So, but I guess it could have been worse. We could have gone out and picked up Brent Burns and paid like 2 prospects and a third for 3 years of 37-year-old Brent Burns. So who knows? Like, maybe. I mean, this is just kind of how free agency works. You know, people get paid more than they are worth, because that's what free agency is. You pay for the free agent. It's basically. I always think you've got to add another million on top. So really, this is a $3 million contract with $1 million thrown in there as a sweetener, because again, that's how free agency works. And I guess it probably balances out, because Johnny Gaudreau is probably getting about $1 million, $1.5 million less than what he would have got in Calgary or New Jersey. So maybe we take the W on this one and see what Yama has in store for us today on day 2 of free agency. I still think they're not done. I still would like to see them at a center. I think we'll get some clarification on Patrick Laine today, or at least I certainly hope so. But that's kind of all I've got for you today at the minute. Tomorrow, we are going to be doing a deep dive into Johnny Gaudreau, his play in Calgary, with Jess Belmosto of Locked on Flames. So that's super exciting. We'll be doing that with my Ask about Erika Branson if we have time. And yeah, that's my plan for tomorrow. This has been me for today. I've been Jay Foster. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find this podcast at LO_Blue Jackets on Twitter. We are on all of the podcatcher apps of choice. We are on YouTube. I'm almost at 100 subscribers over there, so please go and hit that subscribe button if you can. And we're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. You're never going to have to pay. You're never going to have to get behind a paywall for a Locked On product. So that is our promise to you. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, you can email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. And until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.